Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ash, and today I'm doing a quick review for Wavetale on Xbox. Let's take a look, shall we? Wavetale is a story-driven action-adventure game where you play as a young girl named Sigrid, who, when she was very young, she lost her mother to the Dirty Paws, who basically unleashed a thing called the Gloom, which basically sunk and flooded the city that she lived in. Over the years, she's been raised by her grandmother, and then one day, the Dirty Paws sort of rear their heads once again, and they sort of send a tidal wave of this gloom that sort of engulfs everything again in the darkness. Now, for years, they've been living on this island with a lighthouse in it, just basically keeping the darkness at bay, but they haven't really been going anywhere, and she's one of those sort of standard protagonists that just dreams of going elsewhere, basically, and seeing what's beyond the island and from the horizon and stuff like that. And then, as the story progresses, she basically comes into contact with this mysterious shadow that gives her the power to basically walk and sort of surf on water. And she ends up having to go on a mission to obviously rescue all of the villagers, sort of fight off the gloom and the bad guys and all the enemies and stuff, find out more about them, information, and also uncover more about her mother. It's a very heartwarming story, basically about loss and reconciliation, and it'll take you about 5 hours to get through the story mode. Now, the game does feature like an open world, however, it's not open from the beginning of the game. It's all shrouded in this gloom fog, basically, and as you progress, clearing more and more of it up, the map opens up more and more. Now, you also have customization options for your character, where you can spend credits that you earn, basically the currency that you can find. You basically collect it as you're going around, and you spend that to get like new hats and costumes and hairstyles and stuff like that. Now, around the world, you'll visit various different environments and different places. Each of them has a variety of mainline quests to do and optional side quests as you find and free villagers from the gloom. So once you find a villager, you sort of clear the gloom off them, and they normally give you a quest. Finishing the quests gives you more currency, basically, to spend on customization. Now, there's a lot of navigation in this game. There's a lot of climbing and jumping around and stuff like that, and you do this using your fishing net, and the fishing net is like extendable, so it sort of like uses it as a zip line, so you'll zip line around the environment at a very quick pace, and it feels like, imagine like Spider-Man mixed with like surfing. It's that style game. Now, the game features a very nice sort of Breath of the Wild-esque visual style, but obviously a lot more gloomier, and it does brighten up as you clear it. Obviously, it's all dark and murky when the fog and the gloom's there, but as you clean it up, it does brighten up. And while the game features lots of platforming and action sections and combat, there are boss sections filtered throughout the game at each of the sort of main areas you'll visit along with the story mode, and they are more defeated in the sort of, it's not like a combat sense, it's more about sort of avoiding them and maybe switching levers and doing something and setting something off to defeat them in that sense. So, what did we think to Wavetale? Honestly, I absolutely loved this game. It's absolutely stunning in its sort of visual and audio presentation. It's got fantastic voice acting. It's got amazing sort of acrobatics and sort of environmental traversals where you're sort of like zipping around up the buildings and stuff using your net. It's got really fun and enjoyable sort of surfing sections where you can just sort of traverse on the water using the Shadow's ability. And it feels, while there is combat in the game, it does feel like a very chilled game. And although there is combat and there is sort of like boss sections, they were never such a threat that I felt like I was going to die, like, and I had to worry. So it kind of gave me a sort of a feeling of Submerged, the game Submerged, however with a bit of combat. But that's the sort of feeling it evoked from me, and I really love Submerge, and I really, really enjoyed Wavetale. Now, it's not perfect. There is a lot of to and froing on the water, and it just does sort of drag out later into the game. It does sort of slow the pace down. However, when you're doing the sort of the fighting and the sort of the side quests and stuff like that, and you're finding the items, and then you're going through the different areas to complete the story, it's really, really enjoyable, coupled with the sort of customization for your character, so you can change their hair, their hat, their costumes and stuff like that, using the sort of money, should I say, that you collect as you're playing. It just adds a little bit to it, and overall, it's a very, very sweet game with a great story. It's a very heartwarming story about loss and reconciliation. It's just fantastic, and I highly, highly recommend it. And it sort of slipped under the radar again, and I didn't think it was going to be anything like this when I first got the game. I just assumed it was going to be a different type of game, and honestly, it turned out to be a beautifully relaxing but sort of like action orientated game, and for that I give them absolute credit for it. I hope there's more from this sort of world in the future, because like just the surfing aspect of it was really, really fun. All in all, I highly, highly, highly recommend this game. It doesn't seem like a lot of people have been playing it on like True Achievements or anything like that, so I feel like it may have slipped under the radar, which is an absolute shame. So this game was released in December 2022, developed by Thunderful Development and published by Thunderful Publishing, who were kind enough to send us a copy for this review, so big thank you to them for that. Now, it's playable on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, and it's optimised for Xbox Series X and S. And honestly, it's priced at $24.99, and while you only do get about 5 hours of sort of story mode content, like the story gameplay, I highly recommend it at that price, because you're going to have such a great experience. It's got great voice acting, it's got beautiful sort of graphics that remind me of sort of Breath of the Wild. It's got a great cast of characters, fully voice acted, and on top of the sort of story mode, there are also challenges such as the one you can see on the screen right now, where you have to sort of do time trial quests for this surfer woman that you sort of free. There's collectibles to find, and you can upgrade your scrapbook by finding sort of pages littered around, and they explain more about the lore and the story and stuff like that. So there's a reason to go off the beaten track and have a look around and stuff like that. Yes, the traversal does get a little draining later on in the game between the areas when you're on the water. However, when you traversing around the environments and you're actually like climbing and stuff like that, and you're using your net and zip wiring around and stuff, it feels really, really smooth, really, really fun, and really enjoyable. So I highly recommend checking this out. Like I say, it's a real gem of an indie game that honestly I overlooked originally, and I'm so glad I've played it. It's really, really fun being able to sort of like jump onto rails and slide around and jump off and then sort of zip wire onto another one. Absolutely fantastic. Feels great, plays great, and has a great story, soundtrack, graphics, and a voice cast. So all in all, it's a very, very well-rounded, completed package. But that's it for this video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit that like button, hit subscribe. I'll see you very soon for more gaming content. Bye for now.